Hello. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, the drinking show with a Halloween problem. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
Hey there.
Welcome. Hi, how are you? What's up?
I'm good. It was a nice weekend. We had a nice weekend in this area.
Very pleasant. Super fall weekend.
Very fall. We did the obligatory go to the apple place. We didn't actually spend too much on apples, as I was telling you before, but we did get cider and hung out, went for a walk in the woods and stuff. So that was cool.
'Tis the season, and this weekend. So this weekend was, except for Friday, at least up here. You're a little bit, you're 45 minutes away from here, so your mileage may vary. But up here on Friday, it rained all day, kind of on and off, and was drizzly and cold and nasty.
Gotcha.
And that was the night we had tickets to the Shakespeare in the Park performance of Alice in Murderland.
That sucks.
Well, yeah, we went anyway.
They still have the show?
Yep, they still, and it was just like if it had been thunderstorming, they probably would have canceled it, but it was just this nasty drizzle.
I gotcha.
And I was in my parka with my hood, and we had a bottle of wine, but they were also selling coffee and hot beverages.
Yeah,
so at intermission, we went and got that.
The hot beverages?
The hot beverage.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool play, actually. It was an original play. It was called Alice in Murderland.
Okay.
And it was, a lot of it was stage fighting. And I was really, really worried about these nice people on this stage that was now wet. And
somebody's going to bust their ass.
Yeah, and at various times they had to lay on the stage in the wet cold for a while. Because they had died, but they had died at the beginning of the scene.
No, and that's when you really work, because you're like, that guy's going to catch pneumonia.
Yeah, exactly. And none of them are dressed super, warm or anything. Yeah. So,
well, when you're wet, how warm can you be?
Yeah, it just
doesn't matter. The more clothes is just more wet clothes, right?
For sure. But it was still good, and it was nice. But then, of course, the rest of the weekend was absolutely delightful. It was stunningly gorgeous out the rest of the weekend. So.
Yeah, it was very pleasant, and no, it did not rain where I was at. We had I think we had an overnight between Friday and Saturday. We had overnight storm, but it was gone by Saturday morning, so it was not a thing. Didn't interrupt my life at all. We actually need more rain. It's been dry for the last 2 months. We've had 3 rainstorms, but they've been very brief. But yeah, Henderson County and Polk County are in a drought right now. They're actually issuing don't use excessive water, don't wash your car, don't water the lawn, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had excessive rain, but we've had enough rain. Enough rain that I don't feel we're not in a drought in Buncombe County.
But because the Broad River goes south to north,
right,
and it originates down there, it's not helping them if it rains in Asheville. You know what I mean?
No, that's absolutely true, right? And when it's because this is one of the few rivers in the world really that goes south to north. I mean, there's a handful of others. I mean, some big ones, but this one, there are very few in the United States that go south to north, except for ours. But ours does go south north, but it also makes this arc. It starts down here and it ends up in Tennessee. So it kind of goes like this.
Because it's actually going to the Mississippi instead of to the Atlantic Ocean, which every other river in North Carolina goes to the Atlantic.
Right, because we're on this side of the
Continental Divide.
Right, but except the French Broad. So super fun and exciting.
Yes.
But
anyways.
So what we're drinking some stuff, right? I know you and I have some starter beers, right?
Yeah,
you got an Oktoberfest.
I'm finishing my Oktoberfest.
I got a porter.
Yeah, I had a stout before this. I had a Murphy's.
Yeah.
All right. We got some other things.
But we have some other things we're going to
deck.
Yeah.
We've got 2 pumpkins. Last week we had this one. We're going to have it again because it was that good, right? We enjoyed it.
Good.
And we talked about making a what you called a Jack and Tan or something. Remember?
Yeah, for sure.
Although actually, I think it would be a Black and Jack would be better.
A Black and Jack would be better. And to be fair, that flannel fest right there, it's a
dunkel.
It's a dunkel, which would also serve, like, it wouldn't be the porter situation, but it would serve the purpose.
It would probably
if we wanted to give it a try.
Well, maybe we'll have a swig or two by itself, and then we'll do
we can experiment.
Some meddling.
Well, then
and then we've got a pumpkin from Sam Adams, also Jack O pumpkin. Jack O pumpkin ale.
And I will.
This is named after that Australian fellow who used to advertise the batteries back in the 80s.
Jack O.
Oi!
Yes. I will. Spoiler alert! I did try that beer. Excuse me, this weekend, and not my favorite. So I'm really curious about what you think. It's not. It's no pumpkin.
Pumpkin, to be fair, is my highest rated pumpkin beer on Untapped. Aside from Pumpkin Nitro, is the only thing that's higher than it.
Right.
Which is the same beer, but smoother.
I have which I've talked about on the show a bunch of times. My favorite pumpkin beer I can't get anymore. But I swear to God, if anybody ever finds it, I will keep telling you about it. It is the 21st Amendment He Said, and it's a 4-pack that has 2 pumpkin porters that are freaking delicious, and then 2 pumpkin Belgian style ales, which are also delicious, although the porters were my favorite. I swear to God, if you can find it anywhere, find it.
I'll keep an eye out. You know, I didn't look at every beer when I was at Fresh Market.
I haven't found it in years. Years and years and years.
All right. But I've seen other things by that brewery places.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah. I mean, I drink a lot of 21st Amendment. I just haven't.
They're the ones who make Hell and High Watermelon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And they have a bunch of others.
Okay.
But that one is just delicious. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about beers. I mean, we are
here to drink beers.
We are here to drink beers. And thus we talk about
I have come to drink beer and talk about witchy shit. And I'm not yet out of beer, but I'll still
talk about witchy shit. But today's witchy shit in particular is we're doing divination,
right?
Which is I'll have you do your monologue here, but I did want to define divination,
okay?
Because originally I called it fortune telling, but that doesn't encompass all of it, right?
But yeah,
divination is the art or practice that seeks to foresee or foretell future events or discover hidden knowledge, usually by interpretation of omens or some sort of supernatural power.
Yeah.
And omens are phenomenons that portend future events. So the whole thing is a snake eating its tail. But
I see.
So basically I am
prognostication.
It is it's woo-woo. I am pagan through and through, but it's woo-woo.
But woo-woo is woo-woo.
Woo-woo is woo-woo. And I'm not saying I don't believe, and I'm not saying I do believe. I'm sort of a skeptical believer in some of this stuff. Like sometimes it's like, oh, that's a nice coincidence. And sometimes it's like, holy shit, how'd that happen? And sometimes it's like, well, that's clearly bullshit. So, I'm somewhere in the middle.
I've had yeah.
So yes, why don't you tell us your experience?
So I will tell you my experience. The only experience, and this is the only thing, so I'm with you. Most of it I think is woo-woo, and we'll get all that as we go through it. However, I remember there was a situation when I was a child. I remember I asked my mother one time if I could go to the movies that night to go do something. And the night before, she had a dream that I was at the movies and something bad happened to me. And she was
yeah,
absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I really believe it, but at the same time, I put more stock in that particular thing as far as a type of prognostication, which is symbolism and dreams or something. Because I guess probably because it's more personal. Like I've always kind of been like with like the horoscopes and whatnot, like how the fucking stars know what's happening to me, or why do they care? Like also. Like everybody who's born in a month, the same shit's happening to them. Like, seems unlikely, Well, I mean, okay, I think it has a little tiny bearing, which is that the time of year you're born, your parents are going to treat you a certain way, and that has a little bit of bearing on your personality. So, in the sense that, like, people say, "Oh, that's a typical like Capricorn or Aries thing," I think it has more to do with that. Like that children born at a certain time of the year get treated a certain way because of whatever the fuck's going on in their parents' lives.
Sure.
They've also, but similarly, there's other layers because, like, first children get treated differently than third children and so on.
Right.
So all these things come into play. So, like, really, you would have to do, like, how people do the star chart, and it requires, like, not just what month were you born, but also where were you at when you were born, and blah blah blah,
the time of day, exactly, and all those things. Yeah,
they should also, but also, how many siblings do you have? Where were you at in that order? What nationality are your parents? Yeah, all this stuff is going to come into play and actually have more bearing probably than the fucking stars, really.
Right. But actually, today I was just reading an article about confirmation bias, which obviously there are a lot of political implications for confirmation bias. But in this particular one, they use the example of your horoscope. Like, you're never going to remember the horoscopes that were wrong, but you're always going to remember the ones that were right.
I always say the same thing about Friday the 13th, which we just had one of, right?
Mm-hmm. It would have been my father's 88th birthday.
Oh, wow.
But he died. Okay. So not on the 13th.
That was unfortunate on Friday the 13th. That he was dead.
That he was already dead.
Yes, that's one of the unfortunate things that will happen to you sometimes on Friday. You'll find yourself.
You'll have been dead. I mean, at some point, everybody's going to have been dead.
I'm going to have one of those days where I'm going to be. I woke up and I was dead. Anyways, no, what I was trying to say about Friday the 13th was this. The same amount of bad shit happens to you every day of the week, but you don't count it until Friday the 13th. And then you start like cataloging, like, oh, and this happened, and this happened. And it's like, yeah, but bad shit happens all the fucking time. Like, somebody cut me off in traffic, and then they were all out of my favorite Jell-O.
Exactly. And a black cat crossed my path. Well, a black cat lives next door.
I mean, yeah, I see that cat every fucking
day. Every day. He loves us. But he's also a very sweet cat. I had to step over him yesterday to go to football because he was just laying in the middle of the porch, like, and I'm like, well, I have to step over you to get inside the house. So, but yes, absolutely. So a lot of this stuff is confirmation bias. And, I have read tarot since I was 18. I am now 48. So it's been quite some time. But I don't believe that the tarot, for me, the tarot isn't like this knowledge sent from, spirit. I think that each card has really cool art that has really cool meaning. And when you put them in a certain order, there's some cool stuff to say.
You know what it probably does is it helps you. And I've always said I love reading advice columns. I read Savage Love. I've read Dear Abby.
Sure.
Dear Amy, all these fucking things. And what I love about advice columns, well, two things. One, for me, is it makes me feel better about my own life that I don't have whatever problems these people have. Okay.
Right.
So it's kind of like whatever the opposite of living vicariously is. It's like, well, thank God I'm not that poor schmuck.
Right.
But on the other hand, this is the thing I've noticed with the people who do write into these things is they already know what the problem is. And they probably know what the fucking solution is. What they're looking for is validation.
Correct.
And the tarot cards, probably, if anything, what they're doing is they're validating what you already know you need to be doing.
Right. Absolutely.
They're helping you. It's like a third-party thing that gives you clarity on, you know what I mean? It abstracts it enough for you to go, oh, yeah, you can do that.
And I believe that is the case with most of these things. Like, we did our ghost episode, right? And I believe that ghosts exist, but I don't believe that ghosts are a thing. But I don't believe that, like, you can go into a mansion with an electromagnetic device and be like, now ghosts speak to me.
I got ghosts on the meter.
I don't believe in that. But I do believe that there are ghosts. So I think in this case, like, I have enough of a belief to say, these things can be helpful.
Are we splitting this one? Or what?
Let's split this one.
Okay. I didn't know what we were doing.
You're in charge.
All right.
Yes, please. I did have it and it wasn't my favorite, but let's do it again.
All right.
So Yes, that is the story. That is the backstory of divination. And I'll tell you, folks, you won't see this magic right now, but if I am contorting in weird positions, it's not because I am possessed by the devil. It's because I have like a whole setup here that you'll see in a minute, but I have to go around it to get to like my normal stuff. So my apologies. But
I put your beer right where you will knock over some equipment.
Hey, perfect. Perfect. Oh, we didn't talk about who we were going to talk about today. Let's just pick something sort of spooky. What's spooky?
What is spooky?
Oh, here's a spooky. Yeah, our friend Heather Green.
Oh, yeah, that ties in.
Yeah, she has a sweet book about witchcraft.
You know what? I've been watching some witchy movies. I watched 2 in the last couple days here.
Nice.
Well, actually, sorry, I bailed on one of them. One of them was a movie made in 1922 in Sweden called Haxen, which was about the history of witchcraft, and it's basically because it's a 1922 silent movie made in Sweden. It is a slideshow.
Oh God.
of like old wood cuttings about witches, and then the next slide is in Swedish, and it explains the previous slide.
So in many ways, I think that would be awesome.
It's both awesome and awful. But yeah, I hit pause and I looked at the runtime and I was like, never mind, I'm bailing on this. So
if you had been a different mindset, you probably would have been fine with it.
Yeah, but I was in the mood to watch something that was actually spooky, so I didn't want to watch. Like I was like, yeah. But the night before that, I watched this movie called Blood on the Devil's Claw. It was one of the 1970s. I want to say it's a Hammer film, but maybe it's not.
It might be
in the style of a Hammer film, and it's it was about witches and devils and shit, and it was like a folk horror that took place in I don't know, late medieval England or something.
Sure.
It had kind of a weird, like it just ended abruptly, which they do a lot of those in those English movies. Sometimes they'll just like they get to an exciting point and they're like, well, good enough, end it now, you know?
Right. Exactly.
we don't need any sort of what do they call the
climax?
No, not that. The epilogue.
Epilogue.
There's no epilogue. It's just like
denouement.
No, it wasn't even a denouement either. It was the climax and roll credits.
Yeah, roll credits. Right.
And I was like, well, that was an abrupt ending, but nonetheless, it was an enjoyable film up to that point. So I was like, I guess 4 out of 5, whatever.
Yeah, that's fair. But if you want to know more about witchcraft in movies, check out Lights, Camera, Witchcraft by our friend Heather Green. You can go to her website directly, but you can order it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Llewellyn.com. So
I've been meaning to buy this actually.
Yeah, me too.
Because it seems interesting. Because it's an intersection of 2 things I'm interested in.
Movies and witchcraft.
Movies and witchcraft, exactly. So, yeah, if nothing else, it'd probably give me a good list of movies about witchcraft that I want to watch.
Right? Exactly.
I mean, I've probably seen a good many of them, but. And even then, I actually like reading analysis of movies I've already seen, too. I'm the kind of person I used to go and read Roger Ebert's review of a movie after I had seen the movie because I liked seeing what he said about it because it helped me kind of like digest what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
I
do the same thing.
Yeah.
I love reading, like, especially for TV shows. I love reading the AV Club, like the review of each episode.
Yeah.
After I've watched it.
Right.
Just so that I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because it just helps you, like, with what you were thinking. Like, I have ideas about what I think it's about, and then I want to see what someone else has to say about it, and then I'm like, yeah, that's okay.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That confirms, or I have different thoughts about this. So what do you think about this pumpkin beer?
It's too sweet.
Yeah, that's exactly. This is about all I can handle of it.
Yeah, it's very sweet. It actually reminds me a lot of the Trader Joe's one that I used to crow a lot about, but
frankly, it might be
it's the Kennebunkport Beer Company's. But here's the thing: the one at Trader Joe's is like $1.50 a bottle or something.
Well, yeah, but Trader Joe's just commissions out like name brands, make all their brands,
right?
Make all their stuff. So it could
be the same thing.
It could literally be Sam Adams.
It's very similar to that, and I used to like that beer a lot several years ago. But I also used to like sweeter beers than I like now. And
sure.
At this point in my life, this one's too sweet for me.
This one, though, I think, kind of like the pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
It could benefit from like a blending with a porter.
Sure, yeah.
Like a pumpkin tan or something of that sort. So, but I'm gonna finish this and then we'll open the next one and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But we might as well move on. So, okay, here's my movie making magic right
All righty.
I got some here, let's do it. I have some situation. So tarot cards, I think is a good way to start, right? Mm-hmm. So I've got my deck here. You can see it on the tiny camera. But I am going to do here. Let me cut this card. Cut this deck. I'm going to do a 3, not a card, not the whole thing. No, cut it down.
You want me to pull a card?
No, just cut the deck.
Okay.
I just realized that how I said it was stupid.
Okay.
So let me get that. I'm just going to do a little 3-card reading for you here, right here under the camera. Ooh, the 6 of Pumpkins. Let me move that where you can see it better. Yeah, look at that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So that's a generosity. That's you wanting to share what you have with others. So there's something probably in your current life where you want to be able to share, whether it's material things or knowledge, like the show, for example.
Yeah.
And then we have the 8 of Ghosts here, which is so this is you're leaving behind some old baggage and you're moving toward a new frontier, towards something new. So you want to be really generous about your time, but you're ready to move on for something. And then we have here, the Page of Imps. I know you're blocked there. Okay, Page of Imps. That's actually a really interesting one because usually the cards that are analogous to a regular deck, like the queens and jacks and kings, right? They usually refer to real people, like people that you actually know. And the Page of Imps is probably a young, kind of headstrong person. And that could have something to do with a lot of these. So you're very generous with your knowledge and your time, but you're ready to move on to another phase of your life. But at the same time, you have this person looking up to you who has, you feel responsible for, and you want to help them along, and you want to help to move them to the next path of their life.
Okay.
So for example, the tarot cards, they're confirmation bias, right?
Yes. Yeah, because I'll make of that what I will.
Correct. You will make of that what you will, and you can put as much information as you want into that.
Like the ghost whisperer, I'm sensing somebody with a P or a T. Is there somebody who knows somebody with a P or a T in their name?
I know somebody. I know. What? At least I know. My God, my cat Piglet's name started with a P.
Oh wow! Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's yeah. I think Piglet's trying to tell you something.
Exactly.
Piglet's saying she's happy and you shouldn't worry.
Oh, I feel so much better now. Yeah, exactly. But so tarot cards and things like it are divination types where you have like a prop, you have a thing that can tell you something. There are other versions of that which I don't have examples of, but like the runes, right? So and we see like runes of like people will put them as graffiti in places. Oh, you got a rune ring! Show that to the camera, like that. So and each rune has a specific meaning.
Yes.
And if you have like a set of runes, like you can cast them.
Yes.
And depending on how they
fall.
As
Rush says, roll the bones, right?
Yes, roll the bones. Although I'm pretty sure that is referring specifically to dice.
Okay. Well, whatever. Yeah.
Like gambling.
Gambling. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, but
which can also be a form of divination. And then another one that
it mostly predicts that you're going to be broke.
That's true. Another one that's really popular for especially for the pagan folk, because a lot of people specifically in modern paganism kind of tend toward the Celtic, is the Celtic Ogham, which is a Celtic alphabet. So they've created a whole divination system around that.
Okay. Whether
the ancient druids use that or not is not only debatable, but also irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
If you find meaning in it and you want to do it.
I do what I like.
All right. So we do have one more thing. I want to add our little camera back to the stage here.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to the rest of them because I'm going to reach over here. One other form of divination is tea leaves. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah.
So I learned how to read tea leaves a long time ago, about the same time I learned how to read the tarot.
Okay.
I'm going to actually switch this around because I did look at the leaves before I sat down. So there's some interesting, so tea leaves, right? It's you drink a tea and then in the leaves you can see messages, symbols, things like that. I grabbed, you noticed my lovely dainty teacup?
Yeah. Makes it a little harder to read because
it does, because it has a pattern, yeah. but it was better than like a mug.
Sure, yeah. No, I get you. Someone gave my wife a cup like that, but it says harlot on the side.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You can get them to sell. I saw some for sale, and in the bottom of the cup it said, I have the antidote. And I always thought that was a funny cup.
This is actually my Nana's china, which I love. But okay, so in here, I've got some things that I can see. So one of the things I can see here, you can barely see it, but right there, I see like a dancer. So there's like celebration going on. And then over here, well, earlier it looked like a house, but it's settled. So I don't think it's a house
It's a foundation settling. You need to call somebody.
I think it's time to call somebody.
Yeah, they can pump the concrete under the house. It's going to cost.
Oh, you know what? That's weird. That's weird you say that because we actually have somebody coming to do some work on our house.
Wow. Uncanny.
What? So yeah, we've got someone coming out to do some work on.
Also, I see a bat right there.
Where's the bat?
This right here.
Oh, that right here? Yeah, okay.
You see?
I'm down with it.
Kind of looks like a bat.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there.
I don't know what the bat means though. I don't know how to give it symbolism.
This one right here, like a bird or an ostrich, which is bird. I know that. But a bigger bird. Yeah, something a big bird. Could be big bird.
It's big bird. It's because you're going to enjoy some Muppets themed programming in the next couple months.
Oh, I will because every year I watch. I'm going to move this out of my way now that I'm no longer going to use it for the rest of this situation. It's in my way and I hate it.
Okay.
But while I do that, so all right. So what else are we going to talk about here? There. Move this.
I don't know. The thing's way over there, and I can't.
Way over here. I'll move it back over here now. Now that this is out of my way. So another common. Until I figured out. So another common form of. Well, let's actually skip ahead, right?
Okay.
Let's skip ahead because you mentioned we're gonna go down here for a second, right?
Okay.
I'm going to go to the end. I just wanted to get those ones out of the way while we had the camera up because I really wanted to take it down.
Yeah.
Because it was right in my freaking way. But so you mentioned, like mediums, the actual, like, I see this, I do that, right?
Yeah.
So obviously that brings us to like the spiritualist movement.
Yes.
That happened in the early late 1800s, early 1900s. But things like hosting a seance.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, how accurate is that? How much of those were just charlatans and how much was confirmation bias and how much was actually real?
I think a lot of it was a dog and pony show, to be honest with you. I've read enough about, especially, I can't remember what the thing was called, but they would do this thing where they would chew up some stuff and they would basically make ectoplasm, but but it was nonsense. They had an early form of you've seen this going around on TikTok maybe, but how easy it is to make a hologram now. There's a thing called Pepper's Ghost.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's basically you just put a little plastic dome over your cell phone and you can make like a hologram. But people had sorted this kind of stuff out back then, and they would do these tricks with like levitation and a ghost appearing and
right.
I'm trying to remember what the stuff was called, but there was this something where you would they would secrete this something or other. It wasn't necessarily ectoplasm, but it was something. I forget what it was called. But
it would make it seem like
there's something going on here.
I'm expelling the spirit from
and people would eat this shit up. I mean, it was a big deal back then, back between the late 1800s and about 1920s or so.
Right.
When that was like a huge thing. And people would pack into theaters to watch people do this stuff,
Right. And it's true. I mean, some people some people, some very famous people were spiritualists in their day.
Yeah.
And some people made a living on trying to debunk spiritualists. The most famous, of course, Houdini.
Mm-hmm.
And Houdini still has to this day. He is literally dead. But he said if anybody could,
unfortunate way to spend Friday the 13th.
That's what we determined. But he basically said if anyone can prove the existence of ghosts by calling me forward after I die, of course it's an impossible task, right? Because you can never prove that you did or didn't,
right?
In either case. Oh God, I'm not even gonna finish this.
It's just too bad.
I can't do it.
It's too sweet.
I can't do it. I drank a whole bottle of it yesterday, and that was plenty. I'm like,
do you want some of this one?
Yes, because this is delicious.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's good.
But yeah, I think
so seances and automatic writing is another one that fits into that, right?
Yeah. That's where you're blind and you just are like scribbling on a page, and
sometimes you make patterns or words or
and it means something
pictures,
to somebody. Yeah.
But in one we were talking briefly on the show, before the show, about Ouija boards.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, probably one of the most popular methods of communicating with the spirit world,
the dead,
or demonic presence, whatever, something that is not corporeal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so what are your thoughts on a Ouija board?
I think it's all nonsense. I think somebody else in the room moved the plantain. What's it called? The planchette. Someone else moved the planchette.
I prefer it's a plantain. And now I want to.
I lost the planchette. Now we use a.
I definitely want to make our next product is a Bill Has Opinions Ouija board.
Yes,
it comes with a plantain.
With a plantain.
The whole plantain.
Oh, a whole plantain.
The whole plantain.
You have to go buy one every time you want to use it. You go to the store, you buy a plantain, you push it around on the board.
But so here's my thing. Again, I'm a skeptical believer.
Uh-huh.
Like I do think that there are things that exist that we can't see,
mm-hmm.
but I think
it's a problem of authenticity with this one, right?
Yeah, I do not believe under any circumstances that Parker Brothers or Hasbro has unlocked the keys to the universe.
Yeah, I feel like it's, what do they call it when there's like a chain of evidence, like you know what I'm saying, like in things where like somebody has to be able to say I gave it to this person, I gave it to that person. But this thing just appeared in the 1920s as a board game. And people, I know the planchette by itself exists. It's basically, I guess it's a derivative of a thing, kind of.
Yes, and it's kind of based on automatic writing, to be fair. It's like, but it
just seems a little hokey that somebody just decided to trademark, now I'm going to sell it. It's copyrighted and we own the rights to it and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed, that was what makes it seem phony to me. It's like the difference between, I guess, real witchery, if you will, and Wiccan, like paganism versus Wiccan, like, because Wiccan doesn't have like a heritage behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
sure.
It's like we decided we're going to do this now and we're going to call
it. And it's based on a number of things, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many conversations about this, and it is a freaking.
And I'm not trying to gatekeep because honestly, I think all of it's, I don't believe in any of it, but.
Well, and it's such a what's the word I'm looking for? Quicksand, right?
Yeah.
So paganism, right, is an umbrella term, and it covers a lot of things. Anything that's sort of
anything that's non-Christian,
in general, non-Judeo-Christian,
sure.
It can be all kinds of things, and then witchcraft is its own thing. And Wicca was a 1960s development, right? So but a Ouija board made by Hasbro, it just like I just find that hard to believe.
Yeah,
like I think it's possible to communicate with the dead. I just don't know that it's in a board game form, right?
I don't know because I've never won a game of Clue in my life, and somebody's got to be interfering with that, right?
I do love the game of Clue; it's my favorite. But I do want to point out we have here, this is my crystal ball. You can see the pretty, oh, look how pretty. This is actually a gift to me many, many years ago by my beloved life partner. It sits in my household shrine, but it's mostly a pretty, right? Like it has no real purpose. It's just a pretty ball sitting on a pretty purple pillow, and
it's witchy decoration.
It's a witchy, yes, it's a witchy decoration. I love it because it has meaning to me.
Well, that's the thing. Well, and I mean, I've made it pretty clear that I'm like, I don't literally believe in any sort of whatever. I'm right. That isn't to say I'm an atheist. Sometimes, depending on who I talk to, I'm a Levian Satanist, but all Satanism is the theatrical wing of atheism.
Theatrical atheism, absolutely. Modern Satanism as it exists today is totally just theatrical atheism.
Here's the thing. I was pointing this out to someone the other day. This is why you say you're a Satanist, is because when you tell someone you're an atheist, they will still proselytize to you. They'll still try to win you over. But once you tell them you're a Satanist, they will go the fuck away.
Right?
And that's the only reason that you would say it,
Right?
Okay, fine. I believe in. Okay, well, we're done talking.
That's fine.
But but really, it just means I don't believe in anything except for whatever I feel like doing.
What do you think of this Flannel Fest?
It's not bad. It's a lot better than the Jacko.
I will tell you, having just drank the Jacko, this was a poor order because this now tastes to me very spicy. Whereas it isn't, because I drank some of it yesterday. And
it's a dunkel, which I would normally think tastes too sweet, but having just had what I had, now it doesn't taste at all. It doesn't taste as sweet.
It does not.
So I would have probably thought this was like if I'd have had it before that. But now that I've had that, like everything's game. Right?
I enjoyed this yesterday, and this now it tastes a little weird because I got like that aftertaste of the other one. But so another one that it's specifically in our area, right, is dowsing rods.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. Dowsing rods, and I don't have an example of to show you.
Two big Allen keys, if you will.
Basically two Allen keys.
You got your things left over from IKEA.
For you with IKEA. Yeah, actually, I wonder if you did them. But you hold them in your energy or the energy of the world around you, right? Makes them do things so they cross over, or they don't, or they spread apart.
I would give a fair, not a lot, but just a tiny bit. I could see how maybe because they use this for water witching, right? Mostly.
They use it for everything.
Okay, for in the sense of doing something geological with it, though, at least therein there could be a magnetic field.
Right. There might be a
causing a thing to happen, which there we're dabbling in science, or at least pseudoscience.
Right.
Which make pseudoscience is
pseudoscience?
Whatever. However you want to say it.
No, I mean it's pronounced pseudo.
No, not where I come from, because we always wear these leather jackets that are very soft,
Yeah.
So it's pseudoscience.
There's always those words, right? Like there was a thing a while back where it was if you only see a word written,
it means they learned this word from reading
chameleon. Yeah, is my favorite example.
The chameleon.
The chameleon that changes its colors. But yes, you're correct. Yes, you are correct. It is still pseudoscience, but
the epitome.
Exactly, the epitome of. But another one that's similar to, and I've got this example here. I've got my pendulum. It's similar to dowsing, right? You have a thing and you're holding it, and the point is to hold it super, super still. So you are not manipulating it.
Right.
But there's no way for the human body to be that still. And that's the problem with it's
also the thing, which is why you put this in the same category with the planchette too, because it's somebody's fucking around.
So I could ask it a question right now. So is my name Laura? In whatever way it swings, that means yes. Okay, so it's going that way, right?
All right.
So, and then I stop it, and then I say, is my name Bill? And then it will swing in a different direction. So that means no. So that's when you're supposed to, like, you can ask it questions. So now you know the baseline.
I see.
Right? So you can ask it questions. So ask it anything you want to know.
So that dumb electric car I bought stock in, is that it? It's just going to get delisted from NASDAQ, right?
It says yes.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
I mean, it's down to 9 cents a share. It's clearly going to get delisted.
That's fair. That's fair. So again, there's just no way. But then I realized this is literally a necklace. But like an actual pendulum is just.
It's just a weight on a string.
This is the weight on a string, and this is the one thing
The only thing a pendulum is good for is in the sense of, I mean, in reality, is the one used in carpentry, which can actually like tell you if something's plumb, right? Like
right, yes, which actually does. Or if you happen to have a pit.
Okay.
If you happen to have a pit, then you have a use for a pendulum.
Okay.
Right. So, yeah, it's a Edgar Allan Poe joke right there.
Yes.
In case you're wondering.
I got it.
All right. But so
it was a Poe joke.
So then there are other ones that are
tell it nevermore.
So palmistry is another one. And I cannot read palms. I learned deep reading, I learned tarot. But I will tell you here, I'm going to show you this. I woke up this morning with some stigmata.
Oh, yeah.
So
look at that.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I got one too.
Oh, do you?
Look at that.
Oh my God. Look at this.
I know where I got mine though.
I
was hiking. We went off trail yesterday and I touched a bamboo briar or something and cut my hand all up.
No, I picked up my cat when my cat did not want to be picked up.
Well, there you go.
And
that'll do it.
That's what happened.
But somebody could. Oh, I see you have a cat.
Yeah, exactly. But surely palmistry has nothing to do with that. This wouldn't even be.
But what is it? Because they always try to say that this M here means something, right? But everybody's got this M.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
It means you're going to get married one day, and you're like, well.
But yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I never learned palmistry. But and you could really just
how about phrenology? Do you know that one?
Oh, of the head?
Yeah.
No, I don't know that one either.
Okay, me neither. But I do want to. I do want a phrenology dummy, just because it would look good on the shelf.
Oh yeah, it would look really good on the shelf. Get a little map. That's the thing with that and palmistry. Like you can get the palmistry dummies too.
I bought one at the at-home store because they sell them for Halloween decor, and and for people like us, Halloween decor is decor. You're like, hey, they're finally selling my shit.
Right.
Late summer to early October before the shit goes on sale. That's when you run to the home stores and you buy all this stuff.
It's true. Oh, you have to see it. We got a new Halloween decoration.
Oh, nice.
You'll see it when we go back. I'm very proud of it. But anyway, so, you mentioned a particular brand that I was not familiar with. Here's one. This was yours, right?
Was it?
What is your favorite Fleetwood Mac song?
Well, that was just because we were talking about witchy shit. So
you can't divine anything about somebody.
I suppose you could, yeah.
I mean, you could.
So
you could divine something.
Okay, my favorite Fleetwood. And what I really meant was because half of them are about witchy stuff,
That's true.
But my favorite Fleetwood Mac song is not actually a witchy one. It's well, it could be. I like Hypnotized.
Okay. All right.
That's kind of that's my favorite one. It actually doesn't sound like Fleetwood Mac. It sounds more like the Steve Miller Band.
That's true. But
it is my favorite. But the second favorite is the Chain. I like the Chain.
Oh, the Chain's good. The Chain's good. Rhiannon is my favorite.
Yeah, Rhiannon's my favorite witchy one. If you my favorite witchy one, Gold Dust Woman. I don't know if that's. I don't know. Is that one witchy? Kinda.
They're all witchy just by nature.
Because
I would also argue the same test could be made. The same divination could be made of any Van Morrison song.
Oh, that's probably true.
Right? Because he was also very witchy.
Okay. And, so what's your favorite Van Morrison song?
Into the Mystic.
Into the Mystic. Oh, boy.
Yeah, what does that say about me?
I don't know, but it's my least favorite. Well, it's the least favorite one. I shouldn't say. He's probably got ones that I like less that I haven't heard.
No, my least favorite.
Domino.
There's no arguing this. This is just
brown-eyed
girl. I cannot.
You're just over it.
I cannot
hear
hear
Brown Eyed Girl a gazillion times.
Well, because every cover band on the face of the earth will do a cover
Jimmy
of Brown
Buffett
Eyed
did
Girl.
a cover of it.
I know, and I also very much dislike Jimmy Buffett.
Yes,
I will say,
which is fair.
He rest in peace, but I also do not like his music in any way.
No, I don't either. And it was one of those. I didn't want to be that guy. I don't want to like shit all over him or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't immediately go onto Facebook going, well, I didn't like his music anyway. Like, he was a guy that made a cultural impression.
Sure, yeah.
And
if you guys liked it, great.
Yeah, I'm sorry
he
for
wrote
the
some
loss.
good songs about drinks, I suppose.
Look, that's an I'm sorry for you. Like, nobody knew my father. Like, the people that told me I'm sorry your father died, most of them didn't know my father. And that's kind of how I felt about Jimmy Buffett.
Right. Like,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry your guy who wrote drinking songs.
I'm sorry your Jimmy Buffett has died, but I don't actually have a personal attachment to him in any way.
Well, anyway, Van Morrison. What's that one? Moondance. There you go. That's my favorite.
That's hella witchy right there. That's a hella witchy song.
Well, that's the best one he wrote.
I know. I love that song too. I always thought I didn't like Van Morrison, like because the only songs I knew were like Domino and Brown Eyed Girl.
Right.
And then I listened to a bunch of Van Morrison and I was like, holy shit, he's actually really good.
If the radio stations would just play, and this is probably true of a lot of artists, there's probably a lot of artists out there who have better catalogs than we think.
That's absolutely true.
Because the radio just plays their shitty stuff over and over, and you're like, oh my God, like this crap again. Like, I always tell people I hate Bob Seger, but Bob Seger has 2 songs I do like. They just aren't the Bob Seger songs that the radio station tends to play.
No, I used to say that this is not this topic at all.
I know.
I used to say that. But I used to say that about The Who. I used to say I don't like The Who. I don't like The Who. Except for I like this song and that song, and I love Tommy and I love Quadrophenia, and then I'm like, holy shit, I love The Who.
It turns out I like The Who. I don't like the 3 songs they play on the radio.
Right.
Like you don't like I won't get fooled again.
Yeah, but I do I do love Baba O'Reilly. Like, I think that's a fantastic song.
You can't deny that fucking synth lead on that. Like, it's a good song. Yeah. It's a good song.
And I love, they were the masters of the rock opera in the day. Like you can't. I frequently just find myself singing Pinball Wizard.
Yeah.
All right. So we are almost done, but I really want that pumpkin.
Okay. Yeah. We need to crack that open to start drinking it, don't we?
If we do, because we're almost done.
So let's go back to the things we didn't talk about yet. What do we miss?
Let's see.
Scrying.
So kind of that's the idea behind a crystal ball, right?
Right. Some people use a mirror.
Yeah, you can use a mirror. Which, here's the thing. This is one I got to tell you. Back in my baby pagan days, like the big thing was scrying. You take a mirror and you paint it black, and then you can scry it. And I'm like, what the fuck do you have to paint it black for? Like, why? But at that point, I can just scry into this microphone,
right?
Like, if it's black, it's not a mirror anymore. Yeah, exactly. That is a mirror.
The black mirror.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that always made no sense to me. But the idea, and you can scry in water, you can scry in a crystal ball, you can scry in a mirror. The idea is sort of like unfocus your brain and sort of like use but in which case, like, why do you even need a thing?
I don't know.
Can't you just...
I saw a picture the other day where somebody posted they got this used mirror off of Facebook, and their cat was standing beside it staring at it, and they're like, your cat already sees the ghost.
I freaking love like haunted listings. I'm like, I bought this doll.
I went down a wormhole one night where I got on both Craigslist and Facebook.
This is the shit, man. Right?
Really,
here.
you should get yourself some pumpkin.
Yeah, this is
before
delicious.
It's too late.
Yes.
I went down a wormhole. This was several months ago, but I just went to Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist both, and I typed in haunted and started looking for haunted furniture. And I thought, well, I'll buy some haunted furniture on a fucking whim. Like, it's just all fun and games. But then, like, you'd read this, like, the stories that come with the furniture, like, will fucking make the hair on the back of your neck stand. Like, some of them, there was this one, it was a photograph of these 2 boys. Apparently, like, it was from the 20s or something, and they both died early from tuberculosis or polio or whatever the fuck kids died from back in the 20s, And
right.
But they said, I got to get rid of this paint. No, it's a photograph. I got to get rid of it because what you put it in the room, and in the middle of the night, you'll hear kids in the room like laughing or whatever the fuck, and I was like, all right, that's actually kind of like, I don't believe in this kind of thing, but it's unnerving. Like the idea, I don't like the idea of it, right? Like if I saw it in a movie, it would bother me. So I'm not gonna put it in my house and tempt fate.
Right.
Like some of the haunted stuff, I'm like, well, if it's like a cabinet and all it does is the doors open and close, whatever. That's just fun and games. But, like I've always told people, like because I mentioned, I think in the ghost episode, that my house is mildly haunted, but it's haunted in a way that's so benign to me that I don't give a shit, right? Like, well, you could get rid of that ghost. I could, but I don't care because it doesn't bother me. It's like there's a famous ghost in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's a ghost of a doctor. And every morning he gets up and he whistles as he walks down the stairs.
Right.
They hear him every day. And I'm like, that doesn't bother any. Like that's just like, haha, that's whimsical and cute, right?
That's good old Doc Brown, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Like that's different than every time I go and open the closet, there's like a headless ghost like hanging there, like, it's bleeding or something. Like I would leave that house. Like I'd be like, I don't like, that's not good for my nerves. I don't need that. But the whistling ghost, I'm like, yeah, ain't hurt nothing. Like,
right.
If anything, it's an alarm clock. You're gonna get up at 7 every day because there's just whistling in the hallway. All right. It's time to get up.
So, and I know we've had episodes about ghosts, so definitely go check those out. But so I just recently went to a Samhain, just a thing. A witchy thing. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, it might be a cool way to meet witchy people. I did not, because I'm also socially inept. So I went, I watched the presentation, and I'm like, gotta go. So I didn't meet anybody. But, and to be fair, it was like a Samhain 101, which I have been pagan since
you didn't learn anything you didn't know.
I didn't learn anything you didn't know, but it was still pretty cool. And obviously the whole tradition this time of year, right, is the ancient version of this festival, right, is about connecting with your ancestors and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Which feeds into sort of the modern ghost culture that we have. But like she mentioned in this, was connecting to ancestors, not just people you're related to, but chosen family or people that you have feel connection to.
Okay.
And to me, I think that's really interesting, because this house, right, it was built in 1948.
Mm-hmm.
I love this house with all my heart. And I know its history. I know who it was owned by before us. And there have only been 2 owners, as far as I can research. And it was a woman. She had a husband, but she was childless. And she owned this house, and then she also owned the house next door. And then her nephew, who also never married, well, he never married, never had kids, he moved into this house. So she owned the house next door and this house. Mm-hmm. Her husband died in the 70s. And then both she and her nephew died, like her nephew died right before we bought it in 2011. And we know their names. We know all these things about them. And like, to me, that's like, so our house may not be haunted, but I think it's important to like acknowledge the spirits of the house.
Sure.
Like Charles and Olive were important to this house, and I acknowledge that they were important to this house. And I hope one day maybe I'll be important to this house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's the case with your ghost too. Like,
well, that's the thing, because
if he's real or not.
I don't feel her, but other people who are more sensitive to this kind of thing, and probably because they're not skeptical,
right?
Have told me that they feel her there, and so I'm like, okay, well, that's great, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's not hurting anybody.
I mean, and then somebody told me I was telling somebody this one time, and they were like, you didn't get rid of all our stuff, right? And I was like, no, I didn't, because she had a huge book collection, and I didn't see the point in getting rid of it.
Yeah.
And
it's cool.
And they were like, oh, that's why she's still there, because you didn't like purge the house of all of her things.
Yeah, but why?
Although I will say that the more of her stuff we've got, the more of her stuff we've gotten rid of, the less you feel her presence.
I think that's fair, right?
But I'm definitely never getting rid of all the books. So that's that corner where the bookshelf is where she's going to reside.
Right. But she also, like, in part of the reason I imagine that this is even a thing, right? She was a little witchy herself.
She was a little witchy, yeah. And some of the books, the reason I kept them was because they were witchy books.
Right.
And I was like, that's cool.
If she weren't witchy, right? Like, if she didn't come to the house with these ideas, would anyone else? Like, if the only things in the house were, you know, some tables and books about, you know, financial literacy and like would people feel the same about it,
right,
in that instance?
I got you.
But because she was witchy and what she left behind in the house was witchy, like, is that part of the reason why there's still this connection?
Could be, yeah. But you know, and we go to this thing. Oh my god, my grandson the other day, because I'll sometimes say the house is haunted, and I say it because it doesn't affect me one way or the other. Like, you know, but I'll say it, and then he's like, "Is our house really haunted?" And he's like, Do I need to worry? You know, and I'm like, no, I'm just messing around, man. Like, but I'm not really. Or am I? I don't know.
Or am I? But here's the great part is to explain to this child that haunted doesn't mean bad.
That's true.
You know, like there are definitely good ghosts.
Right. Well, I guess that's what I should explain to him is like, you know, because to me, we view her as like a kind of a saint of the house.
Sure.
You know, she's like, looking over us.
Yeah.
She's making sure the house is okay.
Yeah,
like,
that's how I feel about Olive and Charles.
Like I'm not like, oh, she's like freaking me out or nothing, you know. It's just, you know, yeah. So maybe I just need to explain that, like, hey, you're viewing it the wrong way.
Yeah, more like a well, no, here's a good lesson. It's about the ancestors, right? That's the sort of the Samhain tradition, right?
Sure.
You can call on the ancestors whether they're related to you or not. And this is the ancestor of the house, and she's important to the house.
Right.
And by honoring her and respecting her, you're respecting the house and the history of the house. So she's a good spirit, you know, like I respect our spirits of the house, you know, like whether that's literal or, you know, figurative doesn't matter.
Sure.
In the end. But I also, like, I have my household shrine where I have a picture of my grandmother and my great aunt because they're important to me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's about changing the rhetoric around what haunted means.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess that's true. Yeah, because I guess that's the problem is I haven't been able to convey it because to me, I don't view it as like, oh, it's horrible, you know, but
right.
Because to me it's novel or whatever, you know, it's just like, hey, it's just a quirky thing about the house, you know.
Right.
I don't care, but you know, but I think he will come to view it that way. He just is too young to view it that way, maybe.
Sure.
You know, like right now, everything's black and white when you're a child, sure. And you know, and then you get older, you know, and then you're like,
and he'll develop his own ideas, you know, like whatever his spiritual path is, you know, it's his spiritual path.
Sure.
You know, you can't really force that. I mean, you can. Apparently, parents do all the time.
You can attempt.
You should not.
You can attempt.
All right, so we're almost done. But I want you
to talk about the last thing on the list that we didn't get to yet.
Bones?
No, because it's my favorite.
Numerology. Yes. So numerology. So I think numerology is like what we were explaining with the for horoscopes.
Yeah.
Like, no. Look, like, because numerology, like, there's no. I'm sure. Please, if you disagree with me, write it in the comments. Numerology is legit bullshit. You're gonna like add up some things, and what are the things? Like the letters of your name and the alphabet with the date of your birth. Like, oh, I don't even know what things we're adding.
Yeah. It's making shit up.
And eventually you come up with a number.
I used to have the most fun. You remember this thing I got? I used to have. I bought this. I don't remember why. I bought this at a museum when I was a kid, but it was a penny, and it had in the corner of it had an etching of John F. Kennedy looking at Abraham Lincoln, right?
Okay.
And then it was glued to this card that had a series of coincidences between Kennedy and Lincoln.
I've seen those coincidences. I've never seen the penny experience.
Yeah, okay.
Seen the coincidences.
But so it was just a way to tie the whole thing.
Sure,
like, to give you a reason to spend money.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just buying a card that has a bunch of coincidences on it. But if they glue a penny with an etching on it, then now it's worth $15 or whatever, right?
But it's all literally confirmation bias. Oh, somebody had a person named Ford. Somebody had a person named Kennedy. Somebody had a person named Lincoln.
Yeah.
Like it's truly coincidence.
Right. Yeah.
But
and then I remember because this was going around my school at one point. Like I remember people were like talking about this, like, isn't this crazy? And I was like, yeah, it is crazy. I was like, check this out. And I wrote a whole like list of coincidences between me and Elvis or something, you know.
Well, right, because you happen to share a birthday with
I do share a birthday with him. So I was like, it was easy to like pull that off. But I just wrote a bunch of like crazy nonsense, you know. This many letters in Elvis's name, this many letters in Bill's, you know, whatever, you know, just all this cuckoo pants nonsense. And it was like, is this a coincidence or is it?
I share a birthday with Eric Idle from Monty Python.
Oh yeah, you should write one of those little cards like this.
I should. Matt shares a birthday with Pedro Pascal.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal.
He was born my birth year. He's my age, but he was born on Matt's birthday.
How about that?
You know, isn't that's I feel connected.
Yeah.
Right?
Ain't that just the way?
All right. So we are pretty much done. We have to go eat. Bill has a pizza.
We have to finish the last swig of
this beer. But I wanted to real quick while I had the cards out pull a card for our show for the next year.
Pick a card, any card.
Well, I'm going to pick the top card, but I shuffled.
All right. Pick a card, pick the top card.
I'm going to pick the top card. But this is for our show. Oh, shit.
Look at this.
Shit.
What do you got?
That's the fucking magician.
Look at that shit.
Like, that's crazy. Does
that mean we're going to get some viewership?
Maybe, but it means that we're creating something where something is happening here.
How about that?
We're creating it. It's can't miss, people. And this was I literally just pulled this. I did not plant this. I do not know how to count cards. Do not know how to shuffle cards inaccurately, but we do have the magician. So what this is telling me is that this is some can't miss bullshit, people. It's bullshit.
You need to tune in because this is some can't miss bullshit. That's gonna be our new tagline for next year.
Can't miss bullshit.
Can't miss bullshit.
It's true.
It's like must see TV. We're gonna Bill has opinions. Can't miss bullshit.
That's true. No, I mean, I'm telling you.
Put that on the next shirt.
Look, we make all of this up, but it is can't miss bullshit. I actually agree with that.
You like that?
Yeah, I do.
It's a good tagline.
I think that's a great tagline. That's going to be our 2024 tagline. For sure. All right, folks. I believe that is the end of our situation here. Oh, there was a comment here.
Oh, a comment we missed.
Yep, the can't miss bullshit with the drinking show. Correct. That is correct. Yep, 100%.
All right.
So we are off next week, but why don't you take us away right now?
Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. Not introduced at all. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, #Opinion Gang. Got something to say to us? You got a comment, concern, idea for future show?
Please tell me how wrong I was about all of this shit.
Yeah. This can't miss bullshit that we just laid down. You were like, oh, I got a bone to pick with you. I got some bones to roll with you.
See what you did there.
Yes. Anywho, you can tune in 2 weeks from now, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't remember what the topic is, but it'll be
some damn thing.
It'll be Thanksgiving.
It'll be can't miss bullshit.
It will be can't
is what
miss
it will
bullshit
be
right here.
We'll see you then. Have a happy and safe Samhain and Samhain, whatever. Save me some taffies.
Yes. All right, everybody. We'll see you soon.
That's the candy tax.
Happy Halloween.
We pronounce it Samhain where I'm from.
I bet you do.
We pronounced it Samhain.
Yeah, I was going to say, you pronounce it Samhain.
I read it on the back of a leather jacket, and it was Samhain.
The ancient god of the harvest or something. I don't know. It's all bullshit. All of it's bullshit, but you can't miss it. So we'll see you here in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.